It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why.
Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. Well, welcome everybody back to the JavaScript, the show that answers more questions than questions and questions. What?
Hypothetically, anyway.
Yes. I was going to say that it's the show that leaves you with more questions than there are answers. And yet I completely...
I was so lost and I nearly missed my cue. I was like, he just keeps saying the word questions over and over again.
This is what happens when we try to plan an intro and fail miserably. Well,
I mean, just look at what happened with our April Fool's episode.
Yes, exactly. We should stop doing that, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I mean, normally we don't have a plan. We just play the music and just whatever happens.
Yeah, but I guess, we wanted to, at least I wanted to, like, be more professional.
Hypothetically speaking, anyway.
Yes. But yeah, so this is the show that leaves you with more questions than answers, but that's fine. It's awesome.
I almost corrected you then and said, you've got it the wrong way around. But you know, the way around I would have said it would have been the opposite of hypothetical.
Hypothetically speaking.
Indeed.
Are we really living in a simulation? Okay.
Are we really recording a podcast right now?
Or are you just listening to an incantation of it in your head? Are we using sonic waves to manipulate your brain waves into hearing a podcast as opposed to us actually recording a podcast? Brilliant, isn't it?
It would be if I could find the boom sound.
Which is also the sponsor of this podcast. Woo! Brilliant. No, I'm just kidding. Can you imagine if we actually sponsored by Brilliant? That'd be brilliant.
I didn't have the sound effects turned up.
Anyway.
That was meant to be the sound of someone's mind blowing up, but I couldn't find the bloody button.
That's the mind boom.
I mean, the house band would not provide me the sound effect.
And this is the sound of the audience's mind blowing up.
Absolutely.
There's so many of them.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's too many of them.
It's crazy. We had to cut off the sound from their mic because it was just making too much noise.
Right. And you also didn't turn it all the way up.
See, this is why I let you be in charge of the sound effects.
Well, okay, you know that when you turn the dial up, that makes the sound go up, right?
Yeah.
So why didn't you turn it up all the way?
Because mine isn't turned up all the way because I'm too loud.
Oh my God.
So
no, yours is actually turned up all the way.
It?
Yeah, it is.
Our poor listeners.
Damn. Okay. But surprisingly, your voice is not, it doesn't clip the mic, which is a good thing, right? Even if it's loud.
You would think after 21 episodes I would realize how to use this thing.
Yeah, and yet you don't. So... Exactly. That was my first thought. Thank you for stealing my thoughts. Yeah, I don't have any more thoughts. Please somebody get the joke. Please somebody get the joke. I don't have any more thoughts because Nick stole them all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what happens.
Okay.
Anyway, hypothetically, we should continue with the episode.
Yes, we should.
So, I don't know where this premise came from. Were we just talking about hypothetical things? And
I think for me, I was thinking about, because, so there's a famous creator named Domix, right, on the internet. And he used to do animated story times. I mean, he still does, but like the animation industry on YouTube has kind of slowed way down. You don't see a lot of people making story time animations like they used to, at least back then. I don't know if you've heard of the channel Odd Ones Out.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so he's like the guy who made the videos about him working at Subway animated, stuff like that. So he once went on this little venture where he posed hypothetical questions to his friends, and it turned into like this nice discussion, and it was like a 5-minute discussion. So I thought we would do the same thing because this podcast has nothing original. Even our name is stolen from a programming language.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not copyright. We've got a space in the middle of ours.
Okay.
So we're fine. Plus, do they have podcast after their coding language? No.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, So yeah, I wanted us to discuss thought-provoking questions, right? In a way that we would provoke my thoughts. That's
Indeed.
Nick stole.
Yep.
So we found a subreddit called Hypothetical Scenarios, and we're gonna read off of that. But first,
I actually came up with 2 of my own.
yes, he did.
And I would have come up with 3, but when we found the subreddit, I was like, I've got 2. I'm going to leave it
Yes,
at that.
we're gonna leave it at 2. So, what is your first question that will provoke a thought?
Would you rather take the red pill in the Matrix, be the Hobbit in charge of escorting the One Ring,
Okay.
or lead the rebellion in Star Wars, aka Luke Skywalker?
Oh.
But you have to be that character. You're not a side character. You are the one that is responsible for each of those things. So you're effectively Neo, Frodo, or Luke.
And I think our original structure for this episode is that there's 3 follow-up questions that we can do. First follow-up question, do I have free will as Luke Skywalker, or do I have to follow everything that he does to the T?
So you don't have to follow everything he does, but you have to succeed in the mission.
And if I don't?
Is this your second question? Or
Yes,
is this
it's my second question.
Well, then you...
Okay. Third,
Not only are you but the universe is everything is hypothetically speaking.
hypothetically speaking. Okay. I don't know if I want to use my third question because I don't think I have a question. But, I'm a really big fan of Star Wars. Not that much for The Hobbit. And what was the first one again?
The Matrix.
The Matrix, yeah. So basically taking the red pill in the Matrix would mean that this whole life is a lie, right? But would I have that premonition like beforehand? Would I know where the red pill is taking me?
See, here's a bit of behind the scenes. And yes, you would, because Morpheus is going to give you the speech that he gives Neo.
Okay.
But
And would I have knowledge of the Matrix movies prior or no?
No, you're
Okay.
in that universe.
Okay.
But so the movies don't exist unless you
Yeah.
believe the 4th one, which I still haven't seen yet. But apparently the films are canon in universe.
Damn.
But my original question was just going to be, would you rather take the red pill or take the blue pill? In other words, would you rather carry on being ignorant to the simulation?
Yes.
Or would you rather, unplug and realize that your life has been a lie?
Yeah.
So that's where this question originally came from.
Okay.
But
But I mean, obviously, anyone would take the red pill, right? Except for Dwight, I guess. Take the blue
one plus, I mean, if you've ever seen the Matrix movie, that steak looks amazing.
pill. That's fair.
So-
yeah. So, but like, okay. I mean, I'm a pretty
Plus, you've got to think. Sorry to cut you off, but you've
Yeah.
got to think. Whichever character you choose, you're living in their universe,
yeah.
and you live within their rules and regulations.
But I am, I do have free will, right? And I know where my story is going. So as long as I do that, right? Like, for example, right? As Luke Skywalker, I would know that I need to destroy the Death Star. And I would immediately get on that. And I would immediately find out that there's that little tiny event that is, for...
But then again, you're looking at it as someone who knows the story. You'd be living the story. So you've also got to think that your aunt and uncle have been burnt to death. You've just met this random old guy in the middle of a desert who's like, hey, come with me. We're going to go to this pit of villainy and... Well, I can't remember the whole quote.
Yeah.
Never has there been more of a hive of scumbag and villainy. I can't remember what he says. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then you go off with a smuggler in his flying carpet. In their pirate ship.
Yeah.
And, you meet a woman that you fall in love with that you later find out is your sister. And then you have to blow up
Who says that hasn't happened already?
It could be Alabama. Space Alabama.
Yes.
And then you end up blowing up this giant globe thing that appears out of nowhere and tractor beams you.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty confident that I would win in the end. And yes, I am living this guy's life, right? But that would also mean that I'm thinking like him, And even if I spend most of my life, because Luke Skywalker has spent years of his life before he actually destroys the Death Star.
No, he was only 18.
Yeah, but that's 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's one of those things where it's so you still are aiming to have the end goal. you're still thinking as yourself. You're not thinking as Luke Skywalker, because otherwise you just follow the same path. But at the same time,
then I'm
yes, exactly. Oh yeah, but at the same time, it's like you don't know the story, so it's not like you're going to be like, "Oh, I've seen this film before. I know what's going to happen, and I know that bugger over there is my father."
I would probably go around and ask people like, "Hey, do you want to start a podcast?"
What's that?
Let's talk about the Empire, man. The Empire is like, whoo, they're the bad jujus.
Your podcast could be Java the Hutt.
You're a
That's fair.
yeah.
Some choice language there.
Yes. Pardon my French.
Pardon your Wookiee.
Yes. Pardon my.
I'm glad you can do it because I can't.
I can't even do it well.
You're better than I can do.
I mean,
I'm not even going to try. Anyway, so what is your choice? Which universe do you choose? I think I know which one you're leaning towards.
I'm leaning towards Luke Skywalker.
Because there's one that you pretty much said that you wouldn't even think about was The Hobbit, and then The Matrix, you pretty much threw that away. So it was pretty much Star Wars.
Well, I haven't thrown away The Matrix yet because, getting the chance to start over in my life, right, with a new reality. Yes, it's a grim reality. Yes, the robots are using us for power, right? But for me, right, being able to go back into the Matrix and change the programming, change my life, make me a billionaire for God's sake.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes. But yeah, so just to be able to do that, and know. Well, I mean, there's the existential crisis that none of my life has been real, right?
Well, and then there's also the theory that layer is also a simulation, and there's another layer underneath it.
Ooh, how deep does the rabbit hole go? Hey.
Inception.
Anyway, well,
I don't have the bois, so that's as close as I can get.
Well, I mean, so because in the original Matrix comics, right? Neo's parents actually wake up from the Matrix, and they were so distraught by the fact that their reality is not real that they commit sewer slide. Yeah, not the sewer slide that Neo did in the beginning.
They commit Sudoku.
Yes, Sudoku. But so there's that existential crisis, but I don't know if I'd be too affected by the existential crisis. So. Final answer, I'm probably going to go with Star Wars because I would like a space adventure.
Yeah, in all honesty, I think it's one of those things where if I could live in any of the universes, then I would probably pick Lord of the Rings because I would be a hobbit in the Shire and I'd be having second breakfast.
Is that really
it's if you've not heard the food schedule in The Hobbit?
What about the adventure?
Who gives a
You're okay. You're only picking The Hobbit because of second breakfast?
Yeah, because my other choice is either I live in a simulation or I live in a reality where my family has practically been murdered and my father is the equivalent of Space Hitler.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
but you would live a life of adventure.
I don't care about adventure.
Well, you clearly do because you're in The Hobbit.
No, I'm one of the hobbits that stays behind.
Oh, okay. Who stays behind for second breakfast.
Exactly, and 11s and all the other things that they have because they have 12 meals a day.
You know what? I believe that you eat breakfast here, and then when you get to work, you get
have
one
second
of
breakfast.
Yeah, because you always have food at your desk.
It's funny because I never bring the food; people just bring it to me.
Yeah. So I'm convinced that's why you would value the second breakfast over anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be fair though, there's this running joke that if you ever read The Hobbit, it's effectively one of those recipes where it's me and my husband were on holiday in Tuscany and we had a great time, and blah, 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 blah. And while we were there, we discovered the purest ingredients. Because it's basically just, they hike for a couple of days and then they stay and eat for 2 weeks. And then they hike for a couple of days and they stay and eat for 2 weeks.
I mean, you need a refueling station, right? So,
Exactly.
Anyway. But yeah, anyway. Okay, interesting. Move on.
So second hypothetical.
Yes.
That's not bad. It only took us 14 minutes to get through the first hypothetical.
Yeah, so then it's going to take us to 30 minutes for the next one.
Would you rather
Uh-huh.
be transported into the television to be part of Doctor Who, but you are trapped to your fate?
Okay.
Or have the Doctor come to our reality, but you're not a companion, rather just an NPC. So you're one of the background characters that has to deal with the bull
Yeah.
of the Doctor Who universe.
Follow-up question. If I go to the TV, am I companion or the Doctor?
You would be a companion.
Okay. Then I would rather go to the TV. I don't care if I'm stuck there, right? I would rather be stuck in a TV reality. And, like everything, like, because in TV, there's like a running gag, like, how you skip like entire days, right? And you just skip to a scene. And famously, no character in a TV or film, unless it's like essential to the plot, ever has to go to a bathroom.
It's true.
The TARDIS doesn't look like it has a bathroom.
Of course it does. It's got an unlimited universe and reality in there.
And yet people can stay there for weeks, right? So that's just the TV trope, right? So me living in that TV reality, the second follow-up question, would I have those that kind of TV reality, or would I have to like actually live an entire day or entire days and like,
So it'd be reality.
Yeah.
You're effectively just living out what's happening on screen.
And yet I am a companion of the Doctor. So that's what I would want to do. But I mean, thinking about this, like very, like a lot more clearly, right? It's because a lot of the companions, especially like the one-timer companions.
Oh, yeah.
Right. They, eventually get tired of the Doctor. Right. And they would resign from their like, position as a companion to live a normal life. Like, for example, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen Jodie Whittaker's iteration of the Doctor, at the end of series what was it? Series 12? Yeah, series 12. Ryan and Graham leave the TARDIS to essentially go live a normal life, but they don't really, because they still, go off on adventures, and we see them again in series 13, right at the end of it.
Well, because that's the thing. So the reason that we usually, it's like with Martha and Mickey and other companions.
Yes.
They get addicted to it because you can't just go back to being like an accountant when you've seen time and space. But at the same time, it's like, for me, I would rather have the quiet life because, yes, the adventure is great, but it's like it comes with a cost.
But then if the Doctor comes here, you choose the quiet life, you choose not to be a companion of the Doctor, and he comes to the real world, then it's not really a quiet life because there'd be constant alien invasions.
No, it's true. But at the same time, it's like going back to what I was saying about Lord of the Rings. I'm one of those people that doesn't have the call to be the hero. Like, I don't care about being the main character in my own story.
Is that why you live in the void with all the NPC houses here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the people that you saw don't actually exist. They just have a scripted motion.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. If you've ever been to like any suburb, really, it looks like every house looks the same. Every person does the same thing. There's probably a kid in their front driveway playing with a basketball.
I was going to say, it's like, is it, what's the name of that film? Where they're all bouncing the same kickball in the driveway.
Oh. Well, my film knowledge is trash.
I know.
So you know.
Oh, God. Let me just go to the library for a minute.
All right. Hey, watch out for the swimming pool.
What swimming pool?
Oh my God, this is as bad as the acting we did for the April Fool's episode.
Well, you told me I was going to have a splash sound effect.
That's true, and I completely forgot to add it. And it's likely that I'm going to forget to add any sound effects because, I don't like taking out the Rodecaster Duo and like working on it for a long period of time because it's boring. It doesn't have video games on it. Anyway.
I think it's from A Wrinkle in Time, but I don't know because I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, that weird movie. The Disney Wrinkle in Time movie.
Yeah.
I think that was it. That might be it. Who knows?
Oh yeah, so it's according to fictionunbound.com, the kids' bouncing ball scene is retained, but it is stripped of its forced conformity dystopia. Because it's meant to be a dystopian where everyone eats the same mac and cheese, everyone bounces the same ball at the same time.
Yeah.
So, how did we get onto this topic?
Well, you said that you would rather live a boring life and have the doctor in your...
Oh, no, it's because you were making fun of me living in the suburbs. That's why it was.
But but then that's what led to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would rather... Because it's like I was saying about the Tolkien universe, is would I rather slog for 1,000 miles across the country?
You wouldn't walk 1,000 miles?
No, I'd walk 500 miles.
Okay.
And then I would walk 500 more. But to drop this ring, and I did just take my ring off my finger, into a volcano, while there's hordes of orcs trying to kill me, and there's a giant eyeball that's looking at me the whole time. Or would I rather sit in my house and eat some food in a quiet, tranquil part of the world?
Boring.
Yeah, exactly. And I take no qualms with that. It's like when everyone's like, oh, I'm going to hate being retired. I'm going to need to work. Are you kidding me? I would retire tomorrow if I could. Honestly.
Well,
if I won the lottery, I mean, I'd be traveling and stuff.
Yeah.
But I would be living the life of Riley because I'd be great.
See, this is why, there's such a contrast to our Where in the World Are the JavaScript hosts.
Yeah.
Because our most recent post, and this is giving away that we're recording this in the same week. Anyway, where, our most recent post, which is the
St.
Patrick's Day one, I was in New York, right? Like actual New York, and Nick is just in New York.
In Las Vegas.
Yeah. And he didn't want to leave Las Vegas, whereas I am itching to leave Las Vegas and live in New York.
But here's the thing, though. The difference is I have left Las Vegas because I moved back to England.
Yeah.
And it took me until leaving Las Vegas to realize that Las Vegas isn't that bad.
Okay.
There are a lot worse
So do you
places.
think for me, when I ship out to New York, right, that I would be like, yeah, I kind of miss Las Vegas.
You misquoted it. The song is shipping up to Boston.
But I don't want to go to Boston.
Why not? Boston seems cool. I want to go to Boston.
No.
Fair. I mean, each to their own, but, But it's like, so when I left to go back to England, I didn't hate Vegas, but I kind of got stuck in a rut.
Okay.
And Vegas was associated with the rut, and I needed to get out because of that.
I see.
And then when I left, I was like, Vegas is actually quite a cool place to live. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's never a boring moment, that's for sure. I could do without the traffic, because there's not traffic. I could do without the stupid drivers and the construction, but I understand that there's a purpose behind the construction.
Okay. Now I see it, because, if the doctor did come out of the TV and became a real entity in our world, then, you could just be living your life here, and then there's always something exciting outside going on.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, we know that nothing's going to happen here because it all happens in Cardiff.
Yes.
So we're safe.
Yeah. What is the Las Vegas equivalent of Cardiff?
Indian Springs.
Woo! Sorry to anyone who lives in Indian Springs.
No, sorry to anyone who lives in Cardiff.
Why would you live in Cardiff? Anyway.
I don't know. I kind of want to go to Cardiff, but every time I keep saying that I'm going to go to Cardiff, all my family members are like, why do you want to go there? It's so boring. It's like, well, I don't want to see it, and it's where Doctor Who's filmed. But
yeah. Anyway, so now we're moving into
23 minutes, and we're only just making it to the subreddit.
Yes. We are now moving into the subreddit. So I sorted this by new instead of by popular because sometimes the best things in life are not yet popular, like this podcast, for example.
So it's not going to be like that song from that musical, You'll Be Popular. Is that from Hamilton? What is it from? I don't know.
Wicked.
You'll be popular. I don't know. I haven't seen Wicked. To be fair, I haven't seen Hamilton either. But
can you imagine Alexander Hamilton singing about being popular?
I mean, one of the key songs was Alexander Hamilton, You'll Know My Name, or something like that.
And he did sing a song about not throwing away his shot. So, but he's not, I guess.
This is my one shot. This is all I've got. Get lost in the music.
No.
Is that Hamilton?
No.
Marshall Hamilton. Marshall Hamiltothers.
We're just gonna move on. Because as you know, I'm a theater kid, and this is offensive. You're calling me a slur is the equivalent of that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Can you tell that I barely eaten anything today, and I'm still amped up on the caffeine because it's flowing through my veins?
You're just
as the microphone shakes violently.
Man, so if you guys hear any shaking of the microphone, then you know that Nick is high on caffeine.
Crazy who? I'm not crazy.
Crazy? I was crazy once. Anyway.
Crazy.
Okay. So. No. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So this is quite a long post, as like literally every post on the hypothetical subreddit is, because there's a lot of room for nuance, and they want to try to answer each question as well as possible.
It's like the one that you asked me the other day, and I asked the one question that no one in the comments had even thought of.
Exactly. So this hypothetical starts off as: you get 10 million, but have to live in a different decade for each stage of life. So a genie shows up. He offers you 10 million by the time you reach your current age, but your current life will hit pause. A new version of you, alt you, will you start from where you start from the beginning. Alt you will have no memory of your current life. All the same, immediate family will exist in alt you's life. Alt you will also end up in with the same spouse, same children, etc. The caveat: you have to pick a different decade for each stage of alt you's life. Meaning, 1, baby, toddlerhood, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, middle age, old age. All must happen in different decades. Time works differently in this scenario. 1, the decades picked cannot be consecutive. You cannot be born in the 70s and then a child in the 80s. You can be born in the 80s, a kid in the 70s, a teen in the 90s, though. 2, if you choose to go backwards, for example, born in the 80s, but a child in the 20s, it'll be accepted by alt you, family, and fellow travelers as totally natural that all these innovations simply cease to exist. 3, alt you will be aware of the decades changing and retain whatever memories they make in different decades. 4, your alt parents will have been raised chronologically on the decades prior to your birth date of choice. They only start traveling once alt you is born. So if you choose birth in the 2010s, alt you's parents will likely be millennials or Gen X. You cannot pick the same decades as the ones you experience in your current lifetime. If you were born in the 80s, alt you can't do that. If you're a kid in the 90s, alt you can't do that. Alt you will have as many stops as it takes to reach your current age. After that, time will stop jumping. You will unpause and become aware of all of alt you's memories. You can then choose to continue life in alt you's timeline or to keep living on in your current timeline. No matter which option you pick, time will then run continuously, and you will have 10 million in your bank account. You can go as far back as you want, but if alt you dies from some untreatable disease like the plague, you'll get their suffering, memories, and no money. Alt you's only protection are the same vaccinations you currently have. Do you take the money? If so, what decades do you pick? Yeah.
I had a question, I can't remember what it was, because I started thinking, and the decades keep coming and they don't stop coming, and then that distracted my question. I can't remember what it was.
It's alt you, not alt star.
Hey, no, you're an alt you. And
yeah. So would you take it?
So I would have to... Well, I'm kind of buggered because I've got a lot of decades because I'm like 167,000 years old.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be able to experience any of them. Mm-hmm. I'd have to go back to like the Triassic period.
Or maybe even the Hadean Eon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I just come flying in on the comet and just like, hey, hey, motherfuckers, I'm here.
What's up, motherfuckers? I am here to bring life onto this planet.
And by that, I mean my life. You dinosaurs.
Well, there's not even going to be dinosaurs because the Hadean Eon is between 5 and 4.5 billion years ago. So before the Earth was even formed.
So around my 30th birthday.
Yes.
Fair.
Yeah.
So no,
You know, somebody's gonna like if we get around to making a MatPat episode, spoilers, somebody's gonna make a theory on how old you actually are based on
100%.
On the hints that you would
100%.
drop here. But it's not gonna match because the consistency is off. But somebody's gonna make a theory.
Oh,
they're gonna like connect the dots on that.
Hey, if they figured out how many points they scored in Whose Line Is It Anyway, and MatPat had to make up a whole new unit of measure because Drew Carey just decided to award someone points that didn't even exist, I'm sure they can figure it out.
That's fair. Okay. So would you? So your life will currently hit pause, and an alternate version of you will live out its life at a certain decade of your choosing.
And so effectively, I just wake up, but having lived that life rather than the life that I currently lead.
Yeah. So you, alt you has to be very careful, or maybe they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. And like they just drink and smoke and yada yada. And then so by the time your life returns back to normal, you'll have lung cancer.
So it'd just be life as normal then.
Okay.
I'm going to say no, because as alluring as the money is, I can't really think of any other decades that I would want to have lived through that I haven't already lived through.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Everyone looks back through rose-tinted glasses, and it's like
Martha-tinted glasses.
Plus, I can't go back to the plague because I'd die, and that's kind of put a spoiler in. No, I'm just kidding. But it's one of those things. Like everyone thinks that time travel would be great to go back in time. It's like when you get there, you don't have all your usual, mod cons.
Yeah.
It will stink because everyone's, doesn't have a toilet, so they're just going in the streets. No one's bathed for like 6 years.
You mean like the Las Vegas public bus? Hey!
Yes,
I don't know.
actually. It would be like the episode where the bus gets transported to another planet, except I'm in.
Oh my god!
Doctor Who references for the win. You need to put the on here so that whenever we make a reference, or just have like 9 saying fantastic or something like that.
Fantastic. I should compile a list of the shit that I need to add to this.
We're going to have like 97 pages of sound effects.
And then I'd feel lazy and not do that.
Exactly. We'd just use the same old.
Yeah. But it works.
Absolutely.
Anyway, move on.
So yeah, I'd have to say no. I think there would be an amount of money where I think it could be worth it, but it would have to be an astronomical amount of money because I'd lose all the connections that I have currently.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yes, I would still have like my parents, but I'd lose all of my friends.
Yeah.
And those parents wouldn't be the same parents.
That's true.
They would have different influences. So I think there would be too much negative. And plus, when I wake up in this current timeline with my money, I'd be so up that I wouldn't know what to do.
That's fair.
So it's a very interesting hypothetical, and I was considering it. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I can't think of any other decades I'd want to go back to. Do I want to go and live through the Great Depression? Not really.
Yeah.
Do I want to go and live through World War II? Not really.
Yeah.
Do I want to go and live through World War I? Not really.
This is why. This is why any time travel to the past is so terrifying, especially if you have no way back.
Do I want to get conscripted into Vietnam? No. Do I want to live through Reaganomics? No.
No, thank you. But yeah,
maybe like
that's fair.
1900 to 1910, not as a child because I would have been working in a factory, and only like as an upper class English gentleman. Because they were literally just playing tennis on their lawns and worrying about which spoon was in the right position.
True. For me, it's gonna be the same way. Yeah, because as much as like people annoyingly say I was born in the wrong generation. No, you weren't. Yeah. You have the comforts of today's generation.
Yeah.
And you think that you're going to bring all of them with you to the other generations. No. The iPhone wasn't invented yet, right? Your mom wasn't fat yet. I guess that's a plus. Anyway, moving on to the next hypothetical. This one is entitled Free Ride. You get one free car insurance. You get one free car insurance included. Because they didn't put a comma between car and insurance. I thought you get one free car insurance included.
Here you go. Here's one free car insurance. Thank you.
You got one free car insurance included. You can trade it for any car you like at no cost at any dealership. You can replace it if it is destroyed. However, you may never make a right-hand turn again, unless it's a roundabout, in which case you must drive around 3 full times.
Oh.
Would you take it?
Oh.
Yes.
I mean, UPS
No
drivers
right-hand
get
turn.
around not making right-hand turns. Or is it left-hand turns they can't make?
I think it's left-hand turns. I don't know.
Anyway, they figured it out.
One of the hands. One of the hands. Yeah.
That's a tough one. Because I'd also have to consider which car I would get.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because you get a free car.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
get a car. You get a car. Everybody
Yes.
gets a car.
Yeah, and you get one free car insurance included.
Right?
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah. Would you take it or would you not? Personally, I don't like making right-hand turns anyway, right? Because if I'm turning right on a red light, I always get super anxious at the
true.
oncoming cars, right? So I would rather do the left-hand turns because, one, it's either a blinking yellow light, which you have to yield, right? Which I prefer better because I can see what's directly ahead of me, right? Instead of like having to look like that, you know. And two, most left-hand lights, right, left turn lights, just switch to green and red anyway, so you can't turn.
Not here. They're all go to yellow and like yield and stuff like that.
Maybe here in the void, but not in the city. Have you ever been?
Sometimes.
Have you ever been to downtown Las Vegas?
I hate it down there. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, before I start going on a rant about Old
Downtown.
Town Vegas.
Yeah.
Downtown. Anyway.
Not just downtown, maybe whole town Las Vegas. You know, so I guess I don't mean it.
Anyway. Before my Vegas, protectionism comes out.
Yeah.
The thing with the right turn on red is it's only scary if there's someone behind you because they get impatient.
That's fair.
If you can take as much time as you want and you have a patient person behind you because they understand you're trying to turn in the middle of traffic, then you're fine.
Let's consider where we live. That doesn't happen. Nobody's patient
exactly.
here. Yeah.
That's why I was bringing up another hypothetical in a world where, But so I have a question. One of my 3 questions. Say I am driving and the location I need to go to is on the right.
Okay.
Can I turn right or do I have to do a U-turn and then turn left?
You have to do a U-turn. Yeah.
But there would be availability to turn left. It wouldn't be one of those where like I can never go to these places
I would assume
because
so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my second question because I was going to say like if I can only turn left, but I can't get into the place I need to go to.
You would have to drive over the concrete curb. I'm sorry.
That's it.
Yeah, you're done for.
Just trying to get to work. Just like, I'm running a bit late. Why is that? I can't turn right. and I'm trying to figure out how to turn left.
And you try to defy the rules, but the steering wheel's just locked.
The doctor just appears in my passenger seat, just shaking his head, just like, no. No.
Twirling his finger like, no.
Do you remember that old Geico advert where there was a basketball player and he's going around the supermarket like
what?
Stopping people from putting things in their trolley.
Oh.
And he gets to the end of it and no.
I don't think I've seen that, but it's funny to imagine it.
Yeah. It's from like 2004, so it was before you were born.
Yeah.
So
when you first turned 120,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the 3rd time.
Yeah. So you're adding lore.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I'm going to confuse people to no end. So anyway, I think again it depends on the car, but I probably would because I think there's a way around it, and because of the way that I drive, I'm usually pretty patient.
Yeah.
The only thing would be is how far it would take to get up certain roads to have to turn left to come back again.
Okay.
Rainbow being one of those sodding roads.
Everyone hates rainbow. Not everyone hates the rainbow because LGBTQ were allies, right?
Or reading rainbow or rainbows in general.
Yes, exactly. But Rainbow Road? Is it?
Avenue? Boulevard? I think it's Boulevard.
Oh, Rainbow Road is in Mario, isn't it? Rainbow Avenue in Las Vegas, yeah. Everyone hates it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the worst street there is.
Yeah.
There are worse, but...
I think they could improve it. I mean, they could improve it many different ways, but they can improve it with one single thing, and is that they paint that whole road a rainbow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you could be mad driving down a rainbow.
Yeah.
Unless someone hits you with a blue shell.
Which is like a blue Corvette or something like that.
No, someone just like, I don't know, throws a blue Slurpee out the window at you.
From that 7-Eleven in the freaking corner anyway.
But it's on the day where you can bring anything you want and they have like a bucket. And they just
Oh, no.
To answer the hypothetical, I probably would. Because I'd get used to it.
Yeah.
And I'd have I mean, I have a cool car right now, but I would have an Aston Martin or something.
Oh, James Bond style.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Would you make it fly like that one?
No, but I would have the ejector seat.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
I wouldn't need the bulletproof glass or anything like that. I'll just take the ejector seat.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Can you imagine though someone's pissing you off? It's just like, right, I've had enough of you.
And then just, wait, and would you have the option to eject yourself?
Oh, hell no. They would be passengers. Hell no.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm not going to leave my car behind. They're leaving my car behind.
It's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Bung!
I am, but you're not, you bastard. Oh, the road's...
You made the same exact mistake that you did last time.
Yeah, because I was on page number 4 and not page number 2.
Anyway, so this one. Can we do a couple more?
Got time for at least one.
Yeah. Okay. All-powerful aliens contact you and offer the chance to set the style of governance for the entire world. It must follow one of these 3 systems. Far-left Marxist Stalinist? Communist?
Stalinist.
Yeah, Stalinist communist collective, Hitlerian Fourth Reich, ISIS-style radical theocracy. The aliens have decided that only an extremely controlling means of governance will be effective to keep humanity in check. If you do not choose one of these 3 systems, they will just enslave all of humanity, put us in factory farms, and use us for a food source. What's your choice?
So I either have to choose between oppressive systems of government.
Yeah, so far-left Marxist, Stalinist, communist collective, Hitlerian Fourth Reich, or ISIS-style radical theocracy. To narrow it down,
my 2 options are oppressive forms of government or slavery.
Yes. But you get to be, I don't know if you get to be like the leader of the world, but you get to choose one of those 3, and you're pressured, right? This is like a pressure situation, and you'll be part of, let's just say you'll be part of that government, right? But you can set it to anyone you want, but they think that whole controlling, oppressive system is the only way to do it, right? So you have to choose one of those 3, or else it'll just enslave all of humanity.
I think I'm just going to jump in my Aston Martin and jump out with the ejector seat.
This would be useful if you had an eject your own seat option, because then you can just, drive it off a cliff, eject yourself, and then boom.
No, I'd just be driving down Rainbow at 120, jump in the passenger seat and hit the button. And either the crash is going to kill me or the ejector seat kills me.
And as soon as you move from the driver's seat to the passenger seat, you're just like, Jesus, take the
wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, in the hypothetical, I have no choice.
Yeah.
I have to choose an oppressive form of government because it is either oppression or oppression.
Yes.
So, which form of government would I go for?
There's actually one of the comments that I just want to read. Why are the aliens less evolved and bigger assholes than us? Yeah.
100%.
And then OP
100%.
replies, I'm imagining them as hive mind kind of setup. They hate human individuality and see it as a threat. They want to remove that from the equation, so they need a spirit-crushing dictatorial system for its governance. Who knows why they have asked you to choose?
It's the Cybermen.
It is the Cybermen.
The Cybermen.
exactly.
Either that, or because
delete.
you will be upgraded. I can't remember what they say.
Yeah.
But it's either that
Yeah.
or Donald Trump's family came back to run the world.
Yeah, his family from what planet would he be from? That planet made of diamonds, probably. Was it 55 Cancri? Yeah, it's Cancri.
I don't know. He's from some like
Yeah, you can call him Cancri as well.
pits of despair. I don't know.
Anyway,
He's from the moon of Poosh.
Poosh?
Remember that random planet that the Doctor really enjoyed saying?
Oh, Poosh.
Isn't it like the lost moon of Poosh?
Something like that.
That's where he's from because it's the only place that would make sense.
Gallipoosh.
There you go.
So some people are commenting here. They say, well, communism it is. I'll at least give humanity the chance to suffer the least.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because you've either got...
Yeah.
Here's the thing, because you've either got a Hitlerian style where a majority of people suffer if they're not Aryan.
Yeah. Or the radical theocracy of ISIS, which is like religion based.
Exactly.
You know, like would you rather? I mean, there's already radical theocracy in this country's government. Hey. But you know, we're not going to talk about that. You know.
Anyway. I think because it's extreme communism. That's the thing.
Yeah, like the Marxist, like Stalin-esque.
Well, here's the thing. Marx's teachings were taken out of proportion. Mm-hmm. So if it was pure Marxism, fine.
Yeah.
But if we're going in the Stalinist direction...
Yeah. But you know there's no such thing as pure Marxism. Well, and there's no such thing as pure democracy or pure whatever.
But that's the thing is, there could be.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, as soon as you go one way or the other, someone is going to abuse the power.
Yeah.
And it's like with democracy. Mm-hmm. You can have a pure democracy.
Yeah.
But people aren't going to accept that because they're not going to accept that they lost.
There's an interesting episode of Seth MacFarlane's The Orville. I don't know if you've seen that TV show.
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. There's an episode where they land on a planet that is an absolute democracy. Everyone wears these badges that has an up or down symbol, and they vote on you. If you press the up button, that means you have a good reputation. And if you vote the down button, that means you piss someone off. Right? They just vote you down. And there are certain places in this planet, like coffee shops, theaters, bars, that don't let anyone with over 500,000 downvotes in.
Oh, so it's like the Chinese social credit rating,
something like that
system.
And the higher amount of upvotes you have and the lower downvotes you have, you essentially rise up in this place, right?
No, see, that's not an absolute democracy. What that is people judging you. Democracy is a political system, not a. But let me finish.
Okay.
But democracy is a political system, not a societal system.
Well, they see it as a societal system, and here's why: because the people of that planet believe that everyone should have a voice, right? And it's an absolute democracy in that everyone has a say in everything. So, for example, right, in the food that they eat, what they deem healthy, the vitamins that they need, everyone has a say in it, and no experts are allowed. They just go from people's voices, purely. And here's the worst part. Their law system is determined on downvotes, right? So if you get over 1 million downvotes, then you are prosecuted and you're an enemy of the law, and you have to go on an apology tour, right? Basically go on TV shows and apologize to the public. And if people keep downvoting you, once you hit 10 million downvotes, you are quote unquote corrected, right? You are essentially lobotomized to prevent any further, actions that you did.
See, this is why systems, you can't have one pure system. It's like the social democratic system of the Scandinavian countries is the best medium that we have because it's not a pure democracy, but it's not communism, and it's not a militaristic state. It is, it's sort of like yes, 65% of your income is taxed, but at the same time, the roads are on top of things. The healthcare is on top of things. Your society,
you take and you give.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But people don't understand that. Mm-hmm. People want, but they don't want to put into anything. And it's like whenever I bring up England's National Health Service, why should I have to pay for someone else's healthcare?
Yeah.
It's like you're not paying for someone else's healthcare. You're paying into the system so that the people who need it can have it. That system like I said, that is a societal system, and that's when it becomes dangerous.
Yes.
Because it's like with right-wing politics.
Yes.
Especially far-right politics like Nazism.
Yes.
It's someone who has taken it out of context, or the Stalinist teachings of Marxism. Someone has taken it out of context for their own gain, whether it be to enrich themselves, or whether because they're fucking psychopaths who think that they know better than everyone else. Because there are rulers throughout history who have been, dictators.
Yes.
But haven't necessarily been terrible leaders.
Yeah.
To other societies they have, because they've taken them over, like Alexander the Great. But at the same time, it's like they have done right by their people. That society pisses me off, and I know it's a hypothetical. It's funny that it's a hypothetical, but it's
rooted in reality.
Oh, 100%. It's like the South Park episode where they get rid of religion, but then because he travels far into the future.
Yeah.
But then they have the atheists against Christianity and the atheists that hate Christianity or something like that. They've got two rival factions of atheists. And it's like, well, now you're just doing the same thing that you've been doing with Christianity.
Pretty much.
So anyway, that's my rant over because the only way that you could do it is to do communism.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But it's going to be a drag in that society.
Oh, yeah. In my opinion, it's the same. It's the same way for me. Because, I hate radical theocracy so much. And I'm sure a lot of people do it as well. And the annoying thing about it is, it's hard to change what somebody believes in.
Oh, 100%.
Right? It's hard to change somebody's mind. Right? And, everyone knows how much I hate Nazis. Or calling Yahtzees, right? For the sake of this podcast not being flagged down. Really, that's you're backed into a corner essentially.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, at least it hurts people the least.
Well, and that's the thing. So the reason I was getting so frustrated with that Orville society is because it's like we're so divided here in America, and it's like, if you found out who I voted for, you would hold it against me. I'm not saying that you would, but that's how we as a society.
Who did you? I don't know.
So, whereas in England, it's not everyone. There are some people who take it very seriously, but it's like, I don't give a who you voted for.
Yeah.
If you had your reasons, and as long as it's not hurting anyone, I don't care. But it's become such a thing of it's one of those things where it's almost like, are you Pepsi or are you Coke? You're a Coke person, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. And it's like, get over yourself.
And that, in the show The Orville, it just takes that to an extreme.
Exactly.
But
that's to the point where it's getting.
It's
like, remember the chicken sandwich wars?
Popeye's chicken sandwich.
You were like, Popeye's, how dare Chick-fil-A is the best. And then I'd have to explain that I have a nut allergy, and everyone's like, the peanut oil gets cooked off, you stupid. And then I had it and got a stomach.
Literally, it's not that serious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who gives a...
And we've moved past your opinions about Roberto's and Jollibee as well, because it really is not that serious.
Exactly.
Yeah. At first, I may be gasping and for a comedic effect. Yeah. But really, at the end of the day, I don't care.
Yeah. It's like
you
if we were going to get food,
like.
If you want to get Roberto's, I'll just go to the Taco Bell that's next door.
Right.
If you want to get Jollibee, I'll just go to the Jack in the Box that's next door.
Yes.
It's not that deep at the end of the day.
Yes.
Well,
we've had a profound conversation here because of one hypothetical. And I think it is, in fact, thought-provoking because we have provoked the thoughts of Las Vegas.
Exactly.
But anyway, what is your... We didn't ask the question of the week last time.
That's why it was our April Fool's episode.
Yeah. So what is your question of the week, Nick? It can be a hypothetical, too.
Oh, God. I wish I'd known that because I would have prepared a hypothetical.
Well, you don't have to. It's just a question of the week. A normal.
What is your favorite system of government?
Well, my favorite is the one where I get to be correct all the time.
Doesn't exist, so that's.
Are you sure the current administration is not?
No, right. my actual question is going to be
canceled.
My actual question is going to be: if you had to live in a universe and you had to drive in said universe, would you rather drive in the universe of Grand Theft Auto or the universe of Mario Kart?
Mario Kart for me, baby. I like Mario. Yes. Just to be able to drive on Rainbow Road and tell everybody it's not that hard. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I don't know. Because I'm one of those people that occasionally tries to play Grand Theft Auto by actually following the rules.
No.
Just to see how long it takes before I lose my patience. And it doesn't take very long. Because you'll be driving down the street and no one else is using it. It's like driving in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, bugger. I missed the page. That's why I said, oh, bugger.
Okay.
But I think it's got to be Mario Kart purely because you might die, but you're going to have so much fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. And, that little creature can hoist you up if you fall out.
Yeah, Lucky 2. Yeah.
Whatever that name is.
Lucky 2.
Lucky 2?
Yeah.
Lucky 3? Hey. Well, anyway, which universe would you like to drive in? Thank you very much for watching this very thought-provoking episode. We had an unintentional serious discussion in the middle there.
Yeah.
But if we don't have that every once in a while, you'll probably get tired of us just making puns to each other.
Nah.
Okay.
Well, here's today's hypothetical forecast.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.